Welcome back to episode 19. Today, I have something different for you. Probably wondering, what was that all about? I was checking my deviated septum and the airflow from each nostril. Today, we're going to talk about breathing. Breathing is one of those things that you don't even think about. You just do it. Breathing through your nose versus your mouth can have a drastic impact on your life. How did I start paying attention to my breathing? Well, a couple of reasons. The first one is when I was at the dentist the last time, my dentist passed off this remark that, "Oh, Paul, you're a mouth breather." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You breathe more from your mouth versus your nose." I'm like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "Nothing." He's like, "That's just the way you are." At the time when he said it, I totally passed it off and didn't think of it much. But recently, I got curious about this whole breathing from your nose versus your mouth. I Googled it. And here's what I found. I have the article here open in front of me. I'll reference it. So the article goes that almost 50% of adults breathe through their mouths, especially earlier in the day. This could potentially lead to health issues like bad breath and dry mouth. So our nose has been designed not only for smell, but the whole apparatus that exists behind this exterior shell that you see, there's a whole apparatus that's designed for breathing. Now, the advantage of breathing from your nose is that you get cleaner, warmer, moist air sent to the lungs. In a way, your nose is preparing air for your lungs. And when you breathe from your mouth, you're sending in dry, warm air to your lungs, which is actually not that good. The nose filters out foreign particles because of the nose hair. The final benefit is it produces nitric oxide. During nasal breathing, your nose releases nitric oxide, and nitric oxide is a vasodilator, which means it helps to widen blood cells. This can help improve oxygen circulation in your body. Yeah. Have you ever thought about your breathing? If you're watching this, you're probably going to start paying attention to if your mouth is open as you're watching this video, or you're sitting there with your mouth closed and breathing from your nose. So the nose is intended for smell and breathing, whereas the mouth is intended for taste and eating. These two holes have different purposes. Typically, why do people breathe from their mouth? You have a nasal congestion, when you're sick. You have a deviated septum like I do. See the difference? Or you have small nostrils. You should start picking your nose. That might help. Here are some of the disadvantages of breathing from your mouth. You inhale unfiltered air. You don't have the mouth hair that act as a filter. I mean, you do have tiny hairs on your tongue, but they're meant for taste, not to filter out allergens. Breathing from your mouth can also cause asthma, bad breath, tooth decay. Exactly why my dentist brought it up, because when you breathe from your mouth becomes dry, and that's not good for your teeth and your gums, which leads to bacteria, gum inflammation, snoring, sleep apnea, teeth or jaw abnormalities. Breathing from your nose regulates the amount of oxygen and carbon dioxide in your body. When you breathe from your nose, you actually maintain better oxygen levels in your body. When you breathe from your mouth, it seems like you're taking in more oxygen, but your body already has a sufficient amount of oxygen. It's the more regulated, consistent breathing through your nose, which maintains the balance between carbon dioxide and oxygen. So breathing through your nose in your day-to-day life is important, but even more important when you're doing physical activities. One of the things that you learn when you do a lot of physical activities is to breathe from your belly. And the best way to learn to breathe from your belly is to do nasal or nose breathing. researchers found that runners consume the same amount of oxygen during nose and mouth breathing while running, but the respiratory rate or number of breaths per minute was lower during nose breathing. This means it took less work to consume the same amount of oxygen with nose breathing, which could potentially improve athletic performance and endurance. This breathing thing is actually really important. So when you wake up in the morning, is your mouth dry? Or two, when you're just sitting there doing stuff, is your mouth hanging open? Which kind of looks weird if you're just sitting there. I think I only breathe from my mouth when I'm sleeping. My intention with this video in talking about breathing was to bring it to your notice and bring some attention to it because I've recently started exploring it myself. Two things have come out of this initial research that I've been doing on breathing through the nose versus the mouth. The first is tools. In tools, there are two things. One is a nasal dilator, which is these little things that you can put inside your nose, which help you breathe while you sleep, keeping the passageway free. And another tool is people tape their mouth, which seems kind of weird and scary, but it works apparently. So the first thing is getting a nasal dilator and taping your mouth, which forces your body to be breathing through the nose, which leads to better sleep, no snoring. This seems really crazy. The second thing is breathing itself from a mindfulness perspective. There's this guy, his name is Wim Hof. I have been practicing his breathing techniques. So Wim Hof is able to control his physiology using breathing. He's climbed the Mount Everest in just a pair of shorts and flip-flops. He swims in freezing cold water. Because of mastering his breathing, he's able to control his body temperature. I link the article that I was referencing and Wim Hof's breathing exercise video in the description below. More on this in the coming episodes. Okay, no, not that kind of breathing.